Hi guy, my name is David. Today we will talk about. It may be deja vu all over again when it comes to a second round of stimulus checks. Senate Republicans and Trump administration officials are trying to hammer out a new economic stimulus bill to boost the U.S. economy and help Americans facing financial hardship because of the coronavirus pandemic. Another round of stimulus checks is expected to be a key component of the bill. But how much money each family will get under the Republican plan, and which families will even get a check, are still open questions. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin provided a hint, though. He said that the Republican proposal on stimulus checks is the exact same provision as last time. That presumably would mean your second stimulus check would be equal to the first payment you received under the CARES Act earlier this year. Use our stimulus check calculator to determine the amount. That would also mean that people who didn't receive a first-round stimulus check would not receive a check under the next stimulus bill, either. Amount of second stimulus check. If the second round of stimulus checks ultimately is the same as the first round, payments will start at $1,200 per eligible person, $2,400 for married couples filing a joint return. An additional $500 will be added for each child 16 years old or younger. So, for example, a married couple with 2 children would get up to $3,400. Once again, though, payments would be phased out for people with higher incomes if the CARES Act stimulus check plan is replicated. Payments would be gradually reduced to zero for single people, married people filing a separate tax return, and qualifying widowers with an adjusted gross income (AGI) above $75,000. For married couples who file a joint tax return, stimulus checks would be reduced if their AGI exceeds $150,000. People who claim the head of household filing status on their tax return would start seeing a reduction if their AGI exceeds $112,500. Payroll tax cut not likely. Reports out of Washington also indicate that the Republican stimulus package will not include a payroll tax cut. President Trump earlier indicated that he might not sign a stimulus bill that does not include such a tax break. However, the idea never generated much support on Capitol Hill, from Democrats or Republicans. Whether a payroll tax ultimately makes its way into a final bill remains to be seen, but at this point it seems very unlikely. Stimulus bill negotiations. Once the Republicans release their bill, negotiations with Democratic lawmakers will begin. The Democrat-controlled House of Representatives passed their own stimulus bill, the HEROES Act, in May. So, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle will have to agree on a single bill that will likely include bits and pieces from both the Republican plan and the HEROES Act. As far as stimulus checks go, the HEROES Act provides higher payments for families with children than the CARES Act did, and, presumably, than the Republican plan will. Like the CARES Act, the HEROES Act calls for a $1,200 payment to each eligible person, $2,400 for married couples filing a joint return. However, under the HEROES Act, families would get an additional $1,200 for each child, for up to a maximum of 3 children, where the CARES Act only allowed $500 per child. So, for example, a married couple with 3 kids could get up to $6,000. Subscribe to Outbreak, a daily roundup of stories on the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on global business, delivered free to your inbox. The 160 million Americans who got stimulus checks earlier this year would get another payment as soon as next month under a plan being negotiated by Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Our proposal is the exact same provision as last time, Mnuchin told reporters Thursday as he and congressional Republicans work to finalize a series of stimulus bills that will form the counteroffer to a plan from Democrats. That would mean, individuals earning up to $75,000 would receive a $1,200 payment for themselves and $500 for their dependent children. Couples earning up to $150,000 would also qualify. The payment amounts phased down for singles earning up to $99,000 or $198,000 as a couple. Using the same parameters as the last round of stimulus payments would mean that the Internal Revenue Service could quickly deliver the money to people's bank accounts and mailboxes. The IRS prioritized getting direct deposit information for households earlier this year, so the agency could deliver millions of electronic payments and not be slowed down by mailing paper checks. The plan would see the U.S. Treasury shovel approximately $300 billion more into the economy in the coming weeks. The payments would arrive as unemployment claims tick up and economists worry that households could struggle to cover expenses later in the year. This plan wouldn't necessarily immediately help the millions of eligible Americans who haven't yet received their first stimulus checks because they aren't required to file a tax return or are a recipient of a federal benefit program, such as Social Security. There are as many as 12 million homeless, long-term unemployed and other very low-income individuals who haven't received their payments yet, according to an estimate from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities from June. IRS Commissioner Chuck Rettig has disputed the 12 million figure, but is asking the public to tell people who may be eligible but haven't received a payment to submit their bank account or address to the IRS by mid-October. The payment plan, which is part of a broader stimulus package addressing unemployment benefits, school funding and money for local governments, is currently being negotiated in Congress and could be approved by early August. The proposal would require support from Democrats, who have also backed another round of stimulus payments. A House plan calls for increasing the payments for children to $1,200 and expanding the eligibility rules for several groups, including adult dependents and U.S. citizens who are married to immigrants. Republicans and Democrats are this week debating the exact makeup of the latest coronavirus stimulus package to kickstart the ailing U.S. economy after the shedding of tens of millions of jobs due to the COVID-19 crisis in the country. And while both sides of the Senate floor remain divided on the exact makeup of a fresh batch of incentives to aid businesses and individuals, there is some consensus emerging that a second round of stimulus checks, or economic impact payments, will be provided to U.S. citizens feeling the pinch of a lengthy lockdown and the knock-on economic effects of the pandemic. On Tuesday it was reported that senior Republicans had clashed over the details of a new stimulus package, but both U.S. President Donald Trump and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell have both expressed their support for a second round of EIPs to be provided for Americans in need. McConnell is believed to favor a package in the region of $1 trillion while the Democratic proposal of a $3 trillion package, known as the HEROES Act and passed by the House of Representatives in May, is unlikely to receive backing from the Republican-controlled Senate. McConnell: "We want another round of direct payments, we want another round of direct payments to help American families keep driving our national comeback," McConnell said on Tuesday after a reportedly testy meeting between Republican heavyweights. Trump has also said he backs another round of payments to individuals and households and claimed he favors a more generous package than that proposed under the HEROES Act, but the president warned, "It's got to be done properly." Under the CARES Act, a $2.2 trillion relief package passed in March, Americans earning less than $75,000 were given a check for $1,200. Checks for a steadily smaller amount were also available to higher earners, up to a final income limit of $99,000. McConnell suggested earlier in July that a second round of payments may be capped at a level of annual earnings of $40,000 per individual citizen or $80,000 per married couple, with provisions for dependent children along the lines of the $500 additional payment included in the CARES Act. Who will be eligible for a second stimulus check? Observers in Washington are expecting an announcement to be made on a new stimulus package this week, although a finalized bill might not go through until the first week of August under the CARES Act. Some 160 million EIPs have been sent out to the tune of around $270 billion, but it is estimated that around 12 million eligible recipients have not received a first check. As to who will be eligible, Both Republicans and Democrats appear to be nearing agreement on another round of EIPs worth $1,200 per individual, $2,400 per married couple and up to $6,000 per household, but the exact figures are yet to be revealed.